Hey, what's up, guys? As we head into the weekend, I want to just finish up with a little encouragement from the book of Colossians, which we've been studying. And it's just kind of coming along with Paul, just establishing who Jesus is. And that's what he's been doing in chapter 1 this whole time as he writes this letter to the church of Colossae. And as we see, he has to do this because of the heresy and the false doctrine that's being told to some of the Colossians. They're saying things like you have to do this, there are rituals involved, there are certain things you must do to be a believer, to be a Christian. And that's simply not true. So Paul is establishing to them exactly who Jesus is. And we talked about that a little bit in verse 13 when he says, he has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love, which is conveyed us into the kingdom of God. He's done that. But as we move on into verse 17, Paul bolsters this even more. He says, and he is before all things, and in him all things consist. In 18, he goes on to say, and he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things may have the preeminence. That's just the dominance and control over everything. So that's what we're reading about there. And he was before Jesus. He's letting them know Jesus was before all things. He was before time, before creation, before the fall of man. Jesus coexisted with the Father long before time. So the more we dig into the book of Colossians, our minds are opened up so that we understand that Jesus is our creator. He's our sustainer and redeemer. He's the head of the body. He's the head of the church, as verse 18 was telling us. Also, as our creator, he's our sustainer and redeemer. And I'm talking about the head of the body, which means the head of the church. Ecclesia is what that actually means, is the body, is the church. And when you hear that in the Bible, it's talking about the body, it's talking about the called out ones, the redeemed believers, the one who have actually called out and have faith in Jesus Christ. That's the body, that's the church. So that just means that anybody from any nation, race, background, if you are called out and you go by the call of Jesus, and you're redeemed, you belong to the church. And it's not the building. You belong to the church, to the body. So just making it clear in 18, he also said Jesus is the head of the church, the firstborn. And that's just meaning that he's the first resurrected. He's the first one resurrected, and he never tasted death. And that's the victory we have as well as believers, that we won't taste death. Death won't have victory over us. That's our hope. So as we hear and we talk about what I'm saying in these verses, I pray that your God is a really big God, that you understand that he is the sustainer of all. He holds this world together. And if we can trust him in those areas to hold this world together, to be preeminent, dominant of all things, the creator, I pray that we would trust him to sustain us, and that he could hold you together if he holds this world together. I think he's big enough for that. So I pray going into this weekend that you'll trust God, trust what he's doing in your life, and make him big enough to sustain you and hold you together. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. And Lord willing, we'll pick up again in chapter 1. We'll finish that. But God bless you, man. Have a great weekend.